They thought they got away with spoiling my siblings while leaving me with an empty space under the tree, until my grandfather sent a silent text message that completely stripped away their inheritance. I just turned 18 last month, and to see the deep rot in my family, you have to look at the massive gap between how my parents raised my siblings and how they treated me. When I was born, my 38-year-old parents had zero money, so I grew up wearing worn-out hand-me-downs and eating cheap $4 boxes of Kraft mac and cheese. But by the time my younger brother turned 6 and my twin sisters were born, my parents started making good money. Suddenly, our house turned into a playground for spoiled brats. My parents would take my siblings to Applebee's twice a week, buying them whatever they wanted, and spent $1,200 on a fancy advanced ballet class for my baby sister. Meanwhile, I was driving a dented used Honda Civic with a broken heater. If I asked for a simple $50 hoodie from Target, my dad wouldn't even look up from his computer screen. He just waved his hand to dismiss me and told me to get a job. The absolute peak of the humiliation happened on my 16th birthday. I'd asked for a simple family dinner at a local Olive Garden, but my mom completely canceled it at the last second because my brother needed $200 new football cleats and my sister had a dance rehearsal. I sat on my bed alone, eating a $3 microwave meal in the dark. A few months later at Christmas, it got even worse. My grandparents had asked me to write down a small wish list, which I gave to my mom. On Christmas morning, my brother and sisters unwrapped a $500 PlayStation 5, specialized sports gear, and high-end clothes. I sat there in silence as the paper cleared. There was absolutely nothing for me. My mom didn't even look me in the eye. She just poured herself a cup of Dunkin' Donuts coffee, shrugged, and said they ran out of time to shop for me. My siblings literally began throwing their old toys at my head, screaming in my face because I wouldn't spend my morning putting their new playsets together, and my parents just watched and smiled. When I finally stood up, shaking with tears in my eyes, my dad rolled his eyes and said, "Look at you, throwing a childish tantrum over some plastic toys. You are completely dramatic over a little mistake. You're just a boring, weak boy who is looking for a reason to throw a temper tantrum over nothing. Get over yourself, because you're acting like a total baby. A real son understands that your younger siblings come first." Hearing my own father call me a baby while my siblings mocked my empty hands completely broke something inside me. That exact afternoon, I packed my single duffel bag, walked out the front door into the freezing air, and moved into my grandparents' tiny house down the street. My grandfather, a quiet man who spent 40 years working in a local mill, opened the door without a single word. He helped me carry my bag to the spare bedroom, handed me a warm cup of tea, and placed a $100 bill in my hand. Pop looked at me with iron eyes and said, "A boy shouldn't have to beg his own flesh and blood for a crumb of respect. You stay right here, cut the noise, and let us handle the rest." That night, my grandfather didn't bother waiting for an estate lawyer to send a notice after he passed. He took a photo of his newly signed living trust papers, texted it straight to my parents' phones, and both sides of the extended family completely stopped speaking to them. For the past year, I went into absolute grind mode to build a future out of zero. But everything changed on my 18th birthday last week. Pop called me into his living room and handed me the official deed to his properties and the direct access codes to his bank funds. Pop owned 3 large local properties and a massive cash fund worth over $600,000. He had legally moved everything into a living trust that handed full ownership solely to me the day I turned 18. The legal terms stated my parents and my 3 siblings were completely bypassed and would receive absolutely $0 from his life's work. Within 24 hours, the financial reality completely ruined my parents' lives because of their own arrogant choices. My parents had spent years running up massive credit card debts to buy my siblings expensive dirt bikes, designer clothes, and luxury trips, fully expecting to inherit Pop's properties in the future to clear their slate. Now, they were facing total bankruptcy, foreclosure on their suburban home, and owed over $80,000 to the bank with zero safety net coming. My siblings were throwing massive tantrums because my parents had to take away their expensive gadgets and cancel their sports camps. Yesterday afternoon, my phone rang from an unlisted number. I answered it, and my mother's voice came crashing through the speaker. She was sobbing hysterically, coughing, and begging me to listen to her. She whimpered into the line, telling me that the banks were taking everything and that my siblings had no future. She cried, "Please, son, we made a mistake, but we are your only parents. You can't let this ruin our family forever and leave your brother and sisters with nothing. I need you to talk to your grandfather and change the trust so we can pay off the house and share that money because we have absolutely no future if you don't save us from bankruptcy. Please, just come home so we can work this out." I sat at my grandparents' clean kitchen table, looked at the warm sun shining through the window, and delivered the ultimate poetic justice.